What's up, everybody? Today we're going to be taking a look at the Final Fantasy X units to see if the Master Ability 2 upgrades are any good. We'll also take a look at the Valefor Esper and VC to see if you should be spending some Visior this week. First up, let's take a look at Auron, and you can take a look at his Master Ability 2 upgrade, which doesn't look like a lot. Right, all we can see here is that he has the increase in slash resistance penetration by 30%, but you also have to look at the top here where it says upgrade skill, and that's his limit burst. So we'll take a look at that next. But first of all, how important is this slash resist penetration? Tidus also got that, and it's a big deal. It's a really big deal to get it innately on a master ability. A lot of units have slash resist penetration, however, they need to gain it via a buff. It can wear off, it can be dispelled, but this is just on the unit 100% of the time, so it's really impactful. Let's take a look at his upgraded LB, and there's no extra damage, there's no extra range or extra uses, although an extra use would be insane. All he gets is this damage reduction barrier, so a 50% damage reduction 3 times for self. Now, this is actually a pretty cool upgrade because it can make a big difference in his survivability. Now, the problem is that there are lots of barrier breaks out there right now, but still you can't fault this being a great thing, especially for live PvP, the ability to go after people with this LB, which has this huge range. It has an AoE height too, so it can hit a lot of people, and then to be able to also cover yourself while getting aggressive. I know that Prodigy, if he was still playing War of the Visions, would absolutely love this upgrade, but in terms of auto PvP, it's not as powerful. The fact that it only has one use is a big deal for something like Guild Battle, but this is a nice push in terms of his usability. Overall, if you're looking at Auron and if you're wondering if he's going to be relevant, I think that he's going to be a fine unit. I think that there's still a lot of very good stuff on his kit. His power hasn't dropped off, but the things that are problems, like his range on his skills, or some of his skills, the fact that he has 58 agility, and the fact that none of his resistances are spectacular. He has some pretty good ones, but none of them are spectacular. I think Auron is just going to be a fun unit. He's going to be a competitive unit in certain maps and certain teams, but overall, he's not going to be pushing the envelope. I decided to move my camera over since I was kind of blocking the image of the unit, and now we'll take a look at Tidus and see what he got. And there's a little bit more than what Auron got. We can see right here there's 3 upgrades. He has 10% to both slash and missile resist. That's going to put him at 20% total for both values, which is a very good place to be. And then he gets that slash resist penetration 30% innately. Very, very strong. So with these resistances, so 20 slash, 20 missile, that puts him in a good spot against some of the meta units. Well, particularly the slash, right, is going to put us in a good building point for a lot of the meta units that we're seeing right now, and he still has great agility, he still has good attack, you know, kind of a bit beefier compared to some other units. I really like Tidus's upgrades the most out of all of the units. There's still a lot of potential for setting things up like your Haystaga openers. The fact that he can use Cheer to buff his allies' defense is still really strong, but also be buffing their attack. And we're all going to be getting a free Tidus again, which is really important for new players because he is a PvE god. So I think that we can all be really happy that this free unit that we got is getting upgrades. And if you really want to push him, you could go for his VC, but I don't think that that's actually necessary. I use him without his VC. Now, I'm not using him in top level PvP, but I am using him everywhere else, and he's doing just fine. Alright, next we're going to take a look at Yuna, and she also gets a decent amount of upgrades here. So the first up is light attack up 15, so that stacks with the 15 she already gets from her original ability, which means she's just going to become more powerful. She also gets a decrease in her casting time by 200 for both her attacking spells and her non-attacking spells. So what does that actually look like? Well, it means that a lot of her spells are going to go off 1 tick sooner, and there are some good videos around how spell casting works if you don't know, and I'll try to link those in the description for this video so that you can kind of go check that out. But if we want to take a look at which spells specifically, so Curaga, Holy, also Re-Raise, and Full Life, those will all happen 1 tick sooner. Now, if you pair that with any other non-CT non-attack type CT down, then you can actually cast those things faster. When we look at Valefor in a sec, that's going to help her attacking spells go faster, but not her healing spells. But basically, it is an important buff, because one of the things that's an issue with Yuna is that she is not super beefy anymore. When she came out, she could actually take a hit. Now she dies to way too many things, and she can't die while casting. She needs to be able to heal people up, and this is going to be a big way for her to stay relevant. So she's still going to be a very strong unit. If you're thinking how many times you've missed her now and you really want to pick her up, that's still not going to be a bad idea. She's never going to be the powerhouse that she was, just because there are so many other units, and you can only have 3 units in a PvP team. And again, I look at, when I evaluate a unit, I primarily look at PvP, because if you want to play PvE, you can do it with a lot of different units, but with PvP there is kind of a hierarchy to it. So I think she's going to be really good still, and I think this upgrade is really great for her. I think that if you pair it with the Valefor Esper and card, then it's even better if you want to go all in Yuna. So let's take a look at those next. First up is the Valefor Esper, and you can see a few important stats here. First of all, 120 magic and then 16 agility, so those are very good. The evocation spell is very, very powerful, 275% at full, but it's 235 at min, which is still a really high potency. You can see that the range too is pretty decent. Of course, all our evocation spells are 100% hit attacks. It decreases light resistance. It has a buff for attack and magic for all of your other units, but then if you're a light unit, you get a very big attack and magic buff. And these evocation spells are becoming more and more relevant because of things like evocation gauge increase. So if you look at the bottom right down here of Valefor's, I'll just unclick these, bottom right here, you can see we get 2, so 5, 10, 14, 20 evocation gauge boost points or percentage here. So 20% evocation gauge boosts. That's a really nice way to add on to the things that we already have. We have TP skills, we have gear, we have other things that can boost evocation, and that is gonna make you able to use Valefor's evocation spell way more quickly, and they actually are really impactful. The other interesting thing here we have is the decrease attack skill activation. So again, this doesn't work on your healing spells, unfortunately, but it does decrease the cast time by 200 for your attacking spells. And we already had this on Siren, but Siren was more of a defensive Esper than an attacking Esper. This has the increased light attack up. On this side, it has the magic attack up over here. It has Dark Killer. This is a more offensive Esper, and it's really interesting, this decrease on a more offensive and a fast Esper, because there's a lot of units that could use some casting time decrease. So I'm thinking specifically Helena. She has 200 on a passive, she has 350 on an active TP skill, but you can get another 200 here, and her master ability 2 in JP, which is not out yet in global, is another 200 cast time reduction. So if you're finding that your Helena has, for example, her 100% hit attack, she was not using it because the cast time is 200, a lot of her cast times are 200, then this is actually going to be a difference maker for her. So this is a really interesting Esper. Finally, we have the Valefor VC, and this is really interesting as well because it has this one line of text here: increased magic attack resistance penetration by 35% for light units. That's a party effect. You're also going to get some magic attack up, some Dark Killer, and then the person equipping it will get AoE resistance up and magic up, and that is all looking real good for a Yuna or for a Masherie or a Sakura or any other casting unit that you might use this on. And you can even think about units like Jaden with Jamming Thrust, or Elena using her 100% hit attack from the Kodama wielder sub job. They're all going to benefit from having this. Now, however, if you're running a light evasion team, you're not running this because you don't necessarily have space for it. The interesting or the important thing to think about with this card is that it's limited, and this is a really unique and powerful effect, and we don't know when we're going to get it again for light units. So If you're into the light casters, then you can't really skip this card, but if you are fine with your light evasion team or you're not using light at all, then it is a little bit easier of a skip, because I don't think that the Esper is so good that you should be pulling for it. However, I do really like the Esper, and again, it's something it's limited, and it's going to increase your options for spellcasters or enabling some of your older spellcasters, so that there might be some fun options there for, you know, some longtime players that want to utilize some older characters that have, you know, have just been crippled by their cast times. But when it comes to you know, pulling on this VC, ultimately it really depends if you think you're going to be using light casters that much. That's going to be it for this video. Let me know if you're planning on pulling on this Valefor VC Esper combo, or if you're just excited for any of the Master Ability 2 upgrades. Now, I don't have Yuna or Auron, so I'm not going to be pulling for either of them, but I am excited for Tidus's upgrade. I do use him a lot in PvE and a little bit in PvP, so that's going to be pretty neat. Otherwise, I'll be back later this week with more videos. Hopefully going to be doing another FF10 video specifically for new players, and then hopefully a stream on Thursday night. It's coming up to the end of the school year for me, so I'm hopefully going to have some more free time, although I am taking a summer job because, you know, you got to keep making money. But otherwise, we'll see you all in the next video.